Get ready for the action because we are diving straight into the heat with UFC CEO Dana White and his explosive take on the media. Dana White is absolutely furious, calling journalists nobody and saying they have never done anything, demanding answers from him. We break down exactly why White feels so combative with the press and what he thinks the media truly knows about the business.
Never get caught with a dead phone again. This INIU portable charger is compact, travel-friendly, and gives you fast 45-watt charging with a built-in USB-C cable, so there's no need to carry extra cords. With 10,000 mAh power, it's perfect for busy days, trips, emergencies, or anytime your battery drops too low. Grab yours on Amazon through the link in the comments before your phone hits 1%.
Next up, we look at the intense rivalry in the boxing world as Dana White weighs in on Sean Strickland. Following a massive middleweight championship fight, Dana White delivered a sharp message, doubting the sincerity of Strickland's recent shift in demeanor and questioning if that gentler persona is anything more than a temporary moment. We move now to a major shakeup in the sports landscape as Roy Jones Jr. launches a serious critique against Dana White's expansion into boxing via Zuffa Boxing. Jones argues that the focus is no longer on talent, but on who the promotion wants, warning that history in boxing is being erased for short-term financial gain. And finally, we wrap up with Roy Jones Jr.'s passionate argument against the direction of Zuffa Boxing. Jones slams the promotion's philosophy, insisting that skill and hard work must determine champions, and warns that the current trajectory threatens to destroy the legacy of boxing forever. Stay tuned right here for more breaking news. UFC CEO Dana White has once again voiced his combative attitude toward the media, expressing deep frustration over what he perceives as a lack of credibility among journalists. In an interview with David Senra, White sharply questioned the value of media scrutiny, stating, "Who the F***ck are you, and what the F***ck have you ever done? Nothing. You're nobody, and you've never done anything ever. Nobody has ever depended on you for a paycheck. Who are you to criticize anybody?" White elaborated on his frustration by referencing media coverage of business and industry matters. He criticized the online commentators, suggesting that despite their lack of industry experience, they were making bold predictions about failing companies like PFL, Bellator, and ONE FC. White expressed disbelief, noting, "I can't even read this shit because it's so dumb. And I realize these guys know nothing about this business, yet these are the people that are covering it. It's fascinating to me that anybody listens to any of these people." Analysts suggest that White's critique conflates different media types and attempts to devalue journalism by painting reporters as uneducated critics. This perspective mirrors a common sentiment among some figures in sports who doubt the expertise of non-athlete journalists. However, observers contend that much of journalism's function is to uncover information that figures like White wish to avoid. While White's bullying tactics may suppress coverage in some spheres, critics argue that such reactions often encourage more rigorous questioning from dedicated media professionals. UFC CEO Dana White has once again voiced his combative stance toward the media, expressing deep frustration over what he perceives as the media's lack of qualification to question him. In a recent interview with David Senra, White sharply criticized journalists, stating, "My biggest problem with the media. Who the F***ck are you, and what the F***ck have you ever done? Nothing. You're a nobody and you've never done anything ever. Nobody has ever depended on you for a paycheck. Who are you to criticize anybody?" White further elaborated on his disdain, noting that he found the coverage of the business to be simplistic. He recounted a press conference where he commented on online commentators discussing business strategy, calling them fucking brilliant, and suggesting they should be hired by failing companies like PFL, Bellator, and ONE FC, implying they possess the necessary answers. White admitted he found the content difficult to read, concluding that these individuals, who supposedly know nothing about the business, were the ones garnering attention. Analysts suggest White conflates various media types and attempts to devalue journalism by framing it as mere criticism. The report points out that White's assertion that journalists lack business experience does not align with the reality of investigative reporting. It is argued that much of journalism's function is to uncover information that figures like White wish to conceal. While White's aggressive tactics may influence some circles, the report suggests that such denigration often encourages more rigorous questioning from quality media members, as attempts to distort reality tend to provoke deeper scrutiny. UFC CEO Dana White offered a pointed assessment of middleweight champion Sean Strickland following his victory over Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 328. Speaking at the Zuffa Boxing 6 post-fight press conference, White addressed the intense verbal sparring that characterized the build-up to the bout. Strickland secured the UFC middleweight championship for the second time, defeating Chimaev. Following the fight, Strickland offered a notably different post-fight interview on Joe Rogan, issuing an apology and acknowledging the intensity of the contest, stating, "I went too hard. I'll admit it, I respect all you guys. Chechens are great fighters. They're savages. He's a savage." Dana White discussed the mental and emotional toll of the fight week in the promotion. He emphasized the extreme pressure athletes face, noting that the verbal exchanges preceding the fight are part of what makes combat sports unique and demanding. When questioned about the possibility of a gentler version of Strickland emerging, White was unequivocal. "Yeah, I highly doubt that we have a new and improved Sean Strickland," White stated. He further elaborated that the emotional display seen after the win was likely a culmination of the entire fight week's stress, adding, "Without going through what they both went through leading up to this fight, I think that night, all the emotion comes out after the win." White concluded by stating he was not convinced that a significant shift in Strickland's persona was imminent. Roy Jones Jr. has voiced strong opposition to Dana White's expanding influence within the boxing world, criticizing the direction Zuffa Boxing is taking. Jones expressed deep concern that the focus is shifting from pure talent and skill to organizational preference, stating, "Same as UFC, they determine who becomes who. It's not about talent and winning anymore, it's about who they want there." Jones argued that this approach devalues genuine achievement, asserting that talent, skill, hard work, all those things should determine who is the best. And you should have an opportunity to challenge the best if you one of the best. Not kiss your ass. You got to kiss their ass or you can't fight. He further criticized the promotion's perceived short-sightedness regarding boxing's legacy. Jones noted that while figures like Nico Ali Walsh and Oscar de la Hoya have stood against proposed changes to the Muhammad Ali Act, many others fail to grasp the long-term implications. They think it's great money, but it's not. It's great money today, but it's not tomorrow. History is going to be erased, Jones warned, suggesting that the current trend risks eliminating established championship bodies like the WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO titles, citing Terence Crawford's multi-division championship status as an example of what could be lost. Jones concluded with a pointed accusation, questioning the motivation behind the changes. "We're going to kill the history to make it look like UFC? I am sorry, I can't do it." This sentiment followed a recent Zuffa boxing event where Shane Mosley Jr. defeated Serhiy Bohachuk in the 6th round, underscoring Jones's clear disillusionment with the new promotional landscape.